Hi students, so in this video we are continuing the discussion of limits. So in the first video we discussed basically the definition of a limit and about the neighborhood of a value a. So now in this video we are actually trying to discuss how to evaluate limits now. So basically when you are evaluating limits, when you are evaluating or trying to find the limit of a function, if you are getting these models, they are called as indeterminate forms. So when you are applying the limit or when you are substituting the corresponding x value, if you are getting any one of these models, you cannot directly use the substitution method. For example, I will show you. For example, limit x tends to 2. If you have, so this limit evaluation you have to do. For example, so this is your question. So can we directly use the substitution of 2? So limit x tends to 2. Can we substitute? When you are substituting 2 in this one, you will get 0 by 0. And 0 by 0 is clearly indeterminate form. That means directly you cannot substitute x as 2 in this function. Therefore, before substitution you have to try to eliminate that factor which is causing this 0 by 0 or indeterminate form. So what is the factor responsible for this 0 by 0 factor? That one we will try to eliminate. Okay, so limit x tends to 2, I will try to factorize this. X square minus 4, you can write as x minus 2 into x plus 2. Okay, now shall I cancel x minus 2? Definitely, because limit x tends to 2 means x is approaching 2, but x is not exactly equal to 2. X is approaching 2 means x cannot be exactly 2. So x is not exactly 2 means this is non-zero. So therefore you can cancel. So try to understand that when x tends to 2 we are taking x is approaching or nearly 2 but not exactly 2. So it is nearly 2. So x is not equal to 2. You can cancel this. You know that we can do the cancellation process for non-zero values only. So you can cancel this without any hesitation because x cannot be 2 there. So therefore, what is left now? So we are left with limit x tends to 2, x plus 2. Now you can substitute the limit directly. The factor which is responsible to get indeterminate or 0 by 0 form we have eliminated. Now you can use direct substitution of 2 in place of x. So therefore your answer is 4. So that means when x is nearly 2, the limit of this function is nearly 4. So exactly 2 we are not taking, exactly 4 we are not getting. Whatever answer is, approximately 4 is the meaning of that. So whenever you are getting indeterminate form means one of these forms whenever you are getting, when you are trying to substitute directly, you have to find some method to eliminate the factors or the terms which are responsible for this indeterminate form. You have to try to eliminate them and then you can apply the limit. Or you can use the standard limits. So these are some of the standard limits. So we'll try to discuss the standard limits also now. For example, see here, limit x tends to a, x power n minus a power n by x minus a. This is standard limit. When you substitute directly x a in place of x here, you will get 0 by 0 form. Directly if you substitute you will get 0 by 0 form. So whenever you find a function of this model in which limit extends to a, you can use this as formula now. Of course, we have a process of solving that, but you can use this as a formula. So how to get this also? So here, let us see the process to get the proof of this limit. See, x power n minus a power n, you can write like this, factorize. X power n minus a power n can be expressed as x minus a into x power n minus 1 plus x power n minus 2 into a. The index of x will be decreasing and index of a will be increasing like this. So this is the factorization process of numerator. Denominator you can keep as is. Now you can remove x minus a factor or cancel x minus a, because we have limit extends to a, x is approaching a, that is approximately a but not equal to a. So as x is not equal to a, you can cancel this. X minus a is non-zero. Now after cancelling this, you can apply the limit, because this is the factor which is responsible to get 0 by 0 form. That factor is eliminated. Now you can apply the limit. So apply the limit, that is in place of x put a. So a power n minus 1, a power n minus 2 into a power n minus 3 into a square, and so on. When you are applying the limit, okay, limit already we have applied. So when you apply the limit, you will get like this. So now you can see that first a power n minus 1, bases are same, adding the powers, a power n minus 2 plus 1, bases are same, a power n minus 3 plus 2. So in every place you are getting a power n minus 1 only. And how many terms you have here? Just observe how many terms you have. From a power x power n minus 1 to x power 0 we have here. X power n minus 1 to x power 0. How many terms? N minus 1 to 0 or 0 to n minus 1. You have n terms. How to find that from 0 to n minus 1? How many terms are there? Simple logic. To calculate the number of terms in these successive terms, last term minus first term plus 1 is the technique. So when you have some consecutive set of numbers, okay, how many numbers are there? To calculate that, last number minus first number plus 1 you have to do. So x power n minus 1 to x power 0, they are consecutive numbers only. How many numbers are there? You see, last number minus first number plus 1, you will get n. This is the number of terms. So in every term you have having a power n minus 1 only. And how many terms are there? N terms. Therefore, this is a power n minus 1 plus a power n minus 1, so on. N times we are adding. So that therefore that becomes a power n minus 1. So this is the proof of this first standard limit. Now, using this, you can derive this one. Using this one, you can derive easily. So how to get that? See carefully. You can write this limit as limit extends to a. You can write this as x power m minus a power m by x minus a, x power n minus a power n by x minus a. That is for both numerator and denominator. We introduced x minus a. Okay, extra in the denominator part, for numerator denominator, we are dividing with x minus a. Now, we have already learned that whenever you have a function like f of x by g of x, you have like this. So if you want to apply limit for f of x by g of x, that is a rational function, you can apply the limit separately for f of x and separately for g of x, provided you are getting a finite limit. You can separately apply limit for numerator denominator, but actually you must get a finite limit. Okay, so therefore you can separate the limit for numerator, you can separate the limit for denominator. So when you are separating the limit for numerator and denominator, this standard formula you will get. For denominator, exactly this formula you can apply. For numerator, this formula application where you have m in place of n. So separate limit for numerator denominator, apply this formula. So numerator m into a power m minus 1. Denominator n into a power n minus 1. Simplify, you will get this result. So therefore using this first result, we are deriving the second result. Like that, all the standard results, all the standard limits actually we can prove. So using the standard limits or remembering the standard limits is very important, because whenever you are getting indeterminate form, you can use the standard limits. See, directly, for example, if you take this one, directly you cannot substitute x as 0, because when you are substituting x as 0, you get sin 0 by 0. Sin 0 by 0 means 0 by 0 indeterminate form. But if you know the value of the standard limit, you can use that. Like that, tan x by x, when you are applying limit x tends to 0, tan x by x, that is 1. And using this, we got this result. Using this standard limit, we got this result. We will discuss how we got this result. We will discuss now. So for finding the limits of indeterminate models like this, we have one technique which is called as L-Hospital rule, or we can simply call this in short as LH rule. So this is basically to determine the limit of a function, which is generally, when you are substituting, is indeterminate form. So if I take this function, limit x tends to 0, sin x by x. So directly when you are putting x0, you are getting 0 by 0. So what is this application of LHS rule? Whenever directly you are substituting, if you get 0 by 0 or infinity by infinity model, you can apply this LH rule, which we are going to discuss now. We can apply this only when you get 0 by 0 or infinity by infinity model, when you directly substitute. So definitely you are getting 0 by 0 model. So you can apply this rule. That rule is actually, this rule is, I will discuss the rule first. So if you have limit x tends to a, f of x by g of x, when you are directly applying the limit, if you are getting 0 by 0 model or infinity by infinity model, you can write this limit as limit x tends to a, f dash of x by g dash of x, where f dash represents derivative of this function, g dash represents derivative of the function. So whenever we are getting 0 by 0 or infinity by infinity, write the derivative of numerator, write the derivative of denominator, then you apply the limit. This is x tends to a. The limit is not going to change. We will derivate or we will differentiate the numerator, differentiate the denominator. After that you apply the limit. Then you will definitely get a determinate form. Of course, if you are not getting by differentiating once, if you are not getting a determinate form, okay, so if you are differentiating once, still you are getting 0 by 0 or infinity by infinity, means you can differentiate again. You can differentiate any number of times until you get a finite limit. Generally, we will differentiate once. But by differentiating once, you are not getting a finite limit means you can differentiate or you can continue this process any number of times. Okay, that means if this is not a finite limit, then you can write this limit as limit x tends to a, differentiate again f double dash of x by g double dash of x, second derivative. Now if this is finite limit, apply. That process you can continue. This is called as LH rule. I will apply here, see. So I can write this as limit x tends to 0, sin x derivative cos x by derivative of x is 1. Numerator derivative I have written, denominator derivative I have written. Now that is a finite limit only. We are not getting 0 by 0 or infinity by infinity model. This is finite limit. So apply limit now. Apply limit. So when you are applying limit, that is x is taken as 0, you will get cos 0 by 1. Cos 0 is 1. So 1 by 1, your answer is 1. This is the process of proving this standard result. The same process we can apply for this function also. I will show you. Limit x tends to 0, tan x by x. Directly you cannot apply, because directly if you are taking x as 0, you will get 0 by 0. Apply LH rule. So limit x tends to 0, derivative of numerator secant square x, derivative of denominator 1. Now that is not indeterminate form. This is finite limit only. So now you apply the limit. If x is taken as 0, secant 0 is 1. By 1, your answer is 1. So this is a process of proving these two standard results, but you have to remember the result. This will be very useful if you remember all these standard limits. Standard limits means the limits which you have to remember as a formula. Okay, now let us see from this how we are getting this result. Now let us discuss. So consider this one now. Limit x tends to 0, sin ax by x. So directly you cannot substitute x as 0, you will get 0 by 0 anyhow. So I will try to use this standard form. So in order to use the standard form, I will divide and multiply with a. Divide and multiply with a. Sin ax by ax means that is in this model now. Sin x by x, whatever you have as a sine function angle, the same you must have in the denominator. So this is standard form. But actually, if you have sin x by x, then limit x tends to 0 you must have. So here you don't have this ax tends to 0, no? So can I change it? If x tends to 0, multiply with multiply with a, you can write as x tends to 0. If x is nearly 0, a into x is also nearly 0 only. So therefore, instead of limit x tends to 0, I can introduce ax tends to 0. And now you observe this part. So this part is exactly in the model of this standard form. So therefore, this standard limit can be taken as 1 and you have into a, that is equal to a. So this is the result which we have written here. So whenever you have sin ax by x, this coefficient of x is your answer. Whatever you have as coefficient of x is your answer. So basically in these two properties, sin x by x model, this x must be in radians only. This x must be in radians only. If x is not in radians, that is if x is in degrees or is in grades, you have to convert into radians, then you apply the standard limit. Okay, so the result or the consequence of this result we will be getting here. This one is actually a direct consequence of this one. So how we are going to get this one, let us discuss now. So for example, to get the proof of this one, I will take sin inverse x as some theta. So sin inverse x is theta. Then x becomes sin theta. Now take the limit. Limit x tends to 0. Sin inverse x by x. So this is the thing you have to get the value of. So I can write this as limit x tends to 0. Sin inverse x we have taken as theta. And x is sin theta. Okay. Now let us write this as theta by sin theta. I can write as 1 by sin theta by theta. I can write like this. Theta by sin theta, we are writing as 1 by sin theta by theta. So now, can we use the standard limit? Yes, but actually to use the standard limit, limit x tends to 0 sin x by x. That means you must have limit theta tends to 0. Sin theta by theta, limit theta tends to 0 you must have. But we have limit x tends to 0 here. So how to modify? I will show. We have x tends to 0. What is x? Sin theta. Sin theta approaches 0 or almost nearly equal to 0 when theta is 0 only, no? As sin theta approaches 0, theta will be almost equal to 0. So when theta is nearly 0, sin theta is also will be nearly 0. That is, we know that as theta tends to 0 or approaches 0, nearly 0, then sin theta will be approximately equal to theta only. Sin theta will be approximately equal to theta when theta tends to 0. So sin theta is approximately equal to theta means as theta tends to 0, sin theta also tends to 0. So therefore, when sin theta tends to 0, I can write that theta tends to 0. Because as theta is approaching 0, sin theta and theta are nearly same. Okay, so limit x tends to 0 means limit sin theta tends to 0, which we can write as limit theta tends to 0. Now this limit we can apply to denominator separately. We can apply limit for numerator, denominator separately. When you are getting finite limits, numerator is constant, so no need of applying limit to this one. This is constant only. When you apply limit to denominator, we can use this standard result. Therefore, numerator 1, denominator is 1. 1 by 1, your answer is 1. And that is what we have here. The same, actually the same condition you can use for this also. So in the same manner, you can prove the next limit, that is limit x tends to 0, tan inverse x by x will be equal to 1. For the last result, let me use LH rule. L'Hospital rule I will use. So limit x tends to 0, a power x minus 1 by x. Directly you cannot use x as 0, you will get 0 by 0 form. So since you are getting 0 by 0, we are using LH rule. So using LH rule, limit x tends to 0, a power x derivative, that is derivative of numerator, a power x derivative is a power x into log a, minus derivative of 1 is 0, and denominator derivative is 1. Now you are getting finite limit. It is not 0 by 0 model. So apply the limit now. So apply the limit, then you will get a power 0 into log a by 1. A power 0 is 1. So your answer is log a, and when base is not mentioned, obviously it will be base e. And we know that log is defined only when a is positive. When a is 0 or a is less than 0, logarithm is not defined. So therefore definitely a must be 0 for this to be applicable or defined. So this is the result we have proved. And now using this result I can get one more result. That is limit x tends to 0, e power x minus 1 by x. If you have like this, a power x means exponential function. In place of a power x, I am writing e power x. Just use this formula. In place of a, you have e. Using this formula, what you will get? In place of a, replace e. So replace e in place of a. Log e to the base e. Result is 1. So this is another standard result. Limit x tends to 0, e power x minus 1 by x is equal to 1. If you have a power x minus 1 by x log a, e power x minus 1 by x, your answer is 1. Now using this result, we are getting two more results now. So how to get this is observe. So first one, if you are taking limit x tends to 0, I can modify this as a power x minus 1 minus of b power x minus 1 by x. I am modifying like this. What I am doing? Subtracting and adding 1. Minus 1, minus into minus plus 1. This is adding 1, subtracting 1 without changing the function value. So now limit x tends to 0. I will separate the limit for this term separately and this term separately. So I will write like this: limit x tends to 0, a power x minus 1 by x. I will separate this one, minus limit x tends to 0, b power x minus 1 by x. So we know that whenever we have f of x plus or minus g of x, that is algebraic sum of two functions, if you have like this, you can separate the limit for both the functions. Limit can be applied separately for f of x and separately for g of x, provided these two are finite limits. When you have product of functions also, you can separate the limit. Okay, so when you have limit x tends to a, product of functions like this, then also you can separate the limit for f of x and g of x, provided they are finite limits. So whenever you have f of x by g of x, here also you can separate the limit, but after separately writing the limit, you must get finite limits and denominator should not be 0, because g of x is in denominator. You cannot get 0 in the denominator. Okay, so limit x tends to 0. If you have f of x power g of x, here also you can separate the limit for f of x and you can write the limit separately for g of x, provided this is not indeterminate form. That is, f of x, g of x must be finite limits, and you should not get 1 power infinity model also. That means you should not get this as 1, this as infinity, because 1 power infinity is indeterminate form. So you can separate the limit, but when you are getting finite limits only. Okay, so like this we can separate the limit for algebraic sum of or difference of two functions, product, ratio, function, power function. You can write limit separately, but the limit must be finite and existing. Okay. So I separated the limit for this one and this one. Now this is a standard limit. Log A to the base E. So the same application we have here. Just in place of A we have B. Log A minus log B to the same base, which is nothing but log A by B to the base E. The same standard result we can use here also. So if I take this second function, limit extends to 0, I can rewrite this function as, now I am taking this one, I can rewrite this function as a power x minus 1 by x by b power x minus 1 by x. So I am dividing numerator with x and denominator with x. Now I can separate the limit for numerator denominator as I showed here. We can separate limit for numerator denominator when you are getting finite limits. So separate limit for numerator denominator, both are standard limits. So for numerator you will get log A to the base E, for denominator you get log B to the base E. Now log A by log B can be written as log A to the base B, we know that result.